Howdy folks, welcome back to another 2 for 2 Outdoors episode. My name is Aiden, and today we are going to be taking this whole venison bone-in shoulder and turning it into what I like to call a blade roast. So it's just like your normal pot roast, except it's made from this venison shoulder right here. Because a lot of people look at the venison shoulder and they're like, oh, that's just as good as sausage meat, right? And they just ground it up. But so I personally think that the shoulder is probably the most neglected cut of venison meat, and that's why today I'm here to show y'all how to turn this into a delicious roast. So first thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna start with a sharp knife. Remember, sharp knives are always safer than the dull ones, and we're gonna cut away any large pieces of fat that we have on this shoulder. Alright guys, the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna make 3 cuts on this shoulder right here. We're gonna make the first cut right here where this leg bone kind of reaches this shoulder blade, and we're kind of right here. And we're gonna cut all that meat on the bone. We're gonna make our next cut right here. So right where this joint is, right here, we're gonna cut that too. And then after we've made those 2 cuts, we're gonna take a saw. You can use a sawzall or a hacksaw like this, or a bone saw or a meat saw, or anything you want. I'm using this hacksaw, and we're gonna cut the bone right where we made our initial cuts. And now that we have this leg piece off, we're gonna save this for ossobuco. Now it's really good to make a nice clean cut, because when you make a clean cut like that, you open a gateway to the marrow inside the bone. That's really going to allow a lot more flavor into the roast. So we're going to use this piece just because it has more meat on it, and we're going to start seasoning it now. So we're now going to season this with a quite liberal amount of salt and pepper on all the surfaces. So here we have some Fiesta ground black pepper, and we're just going to give it a nice, good, healthy coating of black pepper. Here we have some salt. Give it a lot of salt. And we're going to pack it in now. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now that we have this all packed in, we're going to brown it in vegetable oil mixed with butter. Alright, next thing we're going to do, guys, is we're going to brown this piece in bacon grease and in butter. Now, in that same grease that we browned the shoulder in, we're gonna saute some onions. Now I'm gonna put garlic cloves in. I'm just putting whole cloves in here. You can put half cloves if you want, but I'm just going to use whole cloves. And now I'm going to add some herbs. I'm going to use rosemary. some beef broth. While the broth is boiling, I'm gonna take the blade roast and put it in the slow cooker. Also, while the broth is boiling, we're gonna take our garlic and our onions and our cloves and things like that and put them in there on top of the blade. Now we are gonna take some simmering beef broth and cover it about 2/3 of the way up on the roast. And now we're gonna add a few glugs of red wine. Now we are gonna put it on a slow cook for a medium heat slow cook, and we're gonna start off with 4 hours, and we're gonna check it then. We're gonna check it at 4 hours and see if it's fork tender. Then if so, we're gonna add some carrots, potatoes, and celery. All right, folks, the stew has been going for about, I'd say 5.5 hours, five hours, and it looks amazing. I know y'all don't have much light, but oh, it smells so good with all that stuff. So it is fork tender. It is, so I can like pull it with the fork. I can pull the meat away from the bone with the fork with a little bit of pressure, right? Therefore, it's a fork tender. Therefore, I'm ready to pour my carrots, celery, and potatoes in. I have 3 smaller potatoes. It'd be about 1.5 to 2 regular sized potatoes. I had a half a bag of baby carrots and I chopped them up. And I had a whole like bundle of celery and I chopped that up. And I'm gonna pour that in now. And just a reminder for y'all, it has been going on slow cook mode on medium heat for like 5.5 hours. So do chill with that information. It's turning out really nice. I tried it, just tried a little bit of the meat, so good. All right, we are now dumping the potatoes, celery, and carrots in. And I'm gonna let the carrots and celery and potatoes go for 2 more hours. I'm gonna let the stew go for 2 more hours. It is fork tender right now, and I just put the carrots and celery and potatoes in, and it is now, and I'm gonna let it go for about 2 more hours. Like I said, I'm gonna let it go for about 2 more hours, and I have it on the keep warm setting right there. And so once it is done cooking, it'll just keep the stew warm, and we can have it for breakfast tomorrow morning, and it is gonna be tasty, tasty. So it's gonna cook for like 2 more hours with all that stuff in it, and then it'll keep warm until the morning, and we're gonna have be in for a really tasty breakfast. Y'all just stay tuned. All right, y'all, so it is the next morning. It is 9:37. I woke up around 7:30. It was actually really strange, kind of unrelated to the video. I had this awful cramp that I woke up to. I don't usually wake up that early on a weekend, but cramp woke me straight up. And so anyways, back to the video. Went in, tried the soup. It's freaking awesome. I mean, I'm not gonna go in there right now because my whole family's in there, They're crazy. My dog's barking, my sister's yelling, my mom's yelling, my dad's screaming. Anyway, it's crazy in there, but just take it from me. Towns, what do you want to tell him? You wanted to tell him something, right?
I have a bike with no training wheels.
Towns has a bike with no training wheels. That's what he wanted to tell you. Anyways, the soup is really good. The potatoes are a little on the firm side. I'd let it cook a little more. I added it for 2 more hours after we added the vegetables in last night. So that's 5.5, that's 7.5. And then I added it for 2 more hours this morning. So that's like 9.5 hours. So just go with 10. I mean, you can't be too tender, really. But I'd say cook it for a total of 10 hours. And it should be good, but that was at least with my shoulder. But it's weird because some deer will have really tough shoulders and some deer they'll have a lot more marbling than others. So, you know, I'd say 6 to 12 hours. This one was like 10. But it was a really, really good flavor. No gaminess at all. It was really good. And y'all can just take it from me. It was a really, really good stew. That's not the last venison blade roast that we're gonna make. It's really, really good. So with that all said, guys, thank you so much for watching today's 2 for 2 Outdoors episode. I really do appreciate it. It means so much to me when you guys interact with and like ask me questions like, hey, thanks for all the information. That's awesome. That makes me feel so good. So with that all said, hit the like button down below if you like what you saw. Don't have to, but if you like what you saw, hit the like button. Helps me get more views. You know, YouTube algorithm, crazy like that. And if y'all guys subscribe, that's gonna mean just more great videos for y'all. It's gonna continue me doing all this stuff. And so hit the subscribe button down below. With all that said, thanks for watching today's 2 for 2 Outdoors video, and y'all have a great day.